I'm not here today to talk about the Twatterbars catastrophe, but I am here today to share a story with you that now exists because of the story that Kyle put out in the media on News 24. So I'm going to start off by quickly showing you Kyle's profile, and this appears on the News 24 website. Um, You can read it for yourself, but it says, so it's somewhat surprising to hear that News 24 Kyle didn't follow the conventional journalism school route to the newsroom. And I'm going to show you the consequences thereof. It's a long article about all of his achievements and yay, yay, yay. Essentially, he says, I don't think any university degree will ever prepare you 100% for what you will face in a newsroom or a big corporation. The most valuable lessons will always come from the situations you face. There is very little that a university can teach you about real life experiences, and I think we need to have a serious conversation about that. Kyle, the thing about university and journalism qualifications is that you're getting a transfer of knowledge from somebody who's been in the industry and is qualified to teach that particular topic, which then gives you the ability to build morals and ethics, which is something missing in your reporting. Journalism is the toughest, most rewarding job you will ever do. Never follow the trend. If you want to be a journalist that stands out, don't write about things that everybody is writing about. If you are on a story, try to find a different angle and that you will stand out to your editors and readers. Nothing in that statement talks about the safety of citizens and the morals and power a journalist holds when reporting on news. So, great start. This gentleman does not have a traditional journalism degree or qualification. He is self-taught. Kyle has a post referring to his article. This is the first post that went out. Obviously, there's a lot of comments, there's a lot of people who aren't happy about this. But what I find very interesting is that the top shareholders for News 24 is the Vanguard Group and BlackRock. Those two organizations basically run the stock exchange for the USA. So let's keep that in mind. It's also funny, I don't know if there'll be a picture here about it, but it is also funny that their leadership and management teams do not abide by the Employment Equity Act. So, Kyle, your character has already been under investigation in terms of your methods and the type of reporting you're willing to stoop to. The word that comes to my mind is paparazzi, and you would do well in the UK with this sort of attitude. But let's just quickly read one or two points that I find important. So Kyle allegedly got hold of Koko's cell phone records, accusing him of being part of state capture at the power utility, that being Eskom. Business Day came into possession of phone records that show Koko had spoken to his colleagues, including CFO, after being suspended August 2nd, 2017. His suspension notice prohibited contact with Eskom staff. The phone records show that during the time, he made dozens of phone calls to Eskom employees. Coco then says, Kyle illegally obtained my phone records. Kyle says, it's an attempt to smear me. I am an investigative journalist, he says. No, you're not, Kyle. An investigative journalist has qualifications. You, unfortunately, with no qualifications, fall under the category of reporter, which I also put into the category of paparazzi. This whole story comes out because his ex-girlfriend is unhappy with him and has a grudge, wants to get back at him, and releases some evidence to Coco to show how Cowan illegally obtained his cell phone records. The affidavit also contains WhatsApp messages between Coco and Kun, in which he claims Cowan was a bad father who had prioritized his friends and a work function over their son's first birthday. Essentially, this just sort of gives weight to his character, to Kyle's character. He's not family orientated. He doesn't want to build a productive and efficient society. Fascinating. There's always an element of truth regardless. And I feel like it gives a bit of weight to this journalist's character. He also works with this gentleman, Adriaan. Adriaan goes ahead and says, X is a publication. If you publish thousands of messages spreading disinformation, exaggeration, lies, racism, and hate speech, with the attempt of influencing powerful men in the US government to punish a sovereign country, the public interest outweighs your right to anonymity. Anonymity. You know what I'm trying to say? I feel like Dora the fish, Dory from Finding Nemo. Anyway, essentially, Adriaan, X is not a publication. X is a platform. You work for a publication. We need to make this distinction very clear because you can't just be saying things and then it exists in the real world. X is not a publication. It's a platform, exactly the same as Instagram and Facebook. You see, this is what happens when you start hiring people without qualifications. This is the reporting we get. So I went ahead and wrote, if somebody posts an uneducational rant on the very platform they're criticizing, do they still benefit from an engagement-based revenue? Because if so, we need to talk about how the performative outrage might actually be the incentive behind the unjust, unethical, morally corrupt reporting. I ask, Adriaan, if you publish thousands of posts spreading disinformation, exaggeration, and racially divisive narratives, are you not complicit in the undermining of public interests? And the same applies to your work colleague. For me, journalism as a career is available to everyone. Ethical journalism comes from the soul. And here's a bit of information about what the difference between a journalist and a reporter is. The summary. Journalists have to be able to dig deep into a story to uncover the truth and present it in an unbiased, informative manner. Very important. Uncover the truth, present it in an unbiased, informative manner. As such, they must deeply understand the topics they are discussing, often necessitating a college degree in journalism or a related field. Reporters, on the other hand, focus more on gathering and delivering news. Kyle and Adriaan fit a lot more into the second category. Reporters also track down sources and interview them to get the facts. Reporters generally require less formal education, than journalists, and may be able to enter the profession with a high school diploma or equivalent. In South Africa, not even required. I am happy to report that News 24 hires reporters and not journalists. Now, the reason this is so important to me and that I've taken the time to do this is because when you have a qualification in journalism or media studies, Adriaan and Kyle, I'm specifically speaking to you, you learn things such as media principles and philosophies and strategies. And one of the things I remember studying in my media studies degree, by the way, thank you, Adriaan, thank you, Kyle. I have a degree. Media effects theory. The fact is, as an unqualified reporter, you do not understand media effects theory and the importance of what you report and creating a narrative that cannot be changed once you've reported it. I'm just going to go through a couple of points. Stick with me, guys. While I'm reading this, go and like and subscribe and share. I would really appreciate that. So what is media effects theory? It examines how media content and exposure can shape individuals' attitudes, beliefs, behaviors, and perceptions. Very important. Media messages hold immense power to shape our thoughts and perceptions. Cognitive effects. It can influence our knowledge, understanding, and memory. Emotional effects. It can further evoke emotions and influence our mood. Attitudinal effects. It can shape our attitudes and beliefs on various issues. Behavioral effects. It can impact our behaviors and actions. So you cannot take journalism lightly. You cannot take the title of being a media or news representative lightly. The responsibility is immense. And in no way has Kyle or Adriaan respected the principles of journalism and the very foundation on which I proudly claim to be a journalist. So media effects theory is supported by several theoretical perspectives. I just quickly want to run through this. Cultivation theory leads individuals to develop beliefs and attitudes consistent with those portrayed in the media. The importance of media and building the society we have. I get so upset when people create racially divisive narratives, fueling the problems that this country has. Social learning theory, media also serves as a source of social models from whom we learn new behaviors and ideas. The importance of a journalism qualification in one website page. Agenda setting theory. Media has the power to influence the salience and importance of certain issues by determining which topics receive more attention in the public sphere. And I just want to go back to my post referring to performative outrage, because I feel like we had a bit of performative outrage in order to garner revenue, clicks, shares, reposts. An important point that I always take into consideration when I'm reading news is the media literacy skills of the general public of South Africa. We already have an education crisis in this country. We already have a literacy issue in this country. And now you can almost see the importance media play in creating the very society we have to be part of. Ethical considerations. Understanding media effects raises important ethical considerations. Media producers, policymakers, and consumers all have a role to play in promoting responsible media practices. This includes media transparency, accurate representation, avoiding harmful stereotypes, and the responsibility to foster media literacy in society. So, the reason making this video is so important for me is that I had a quick chat with my mom on the phone the other day, and this news story came up, Twatterboss was exposed and etc. And the first words out of my mom's mouth was, he doesn't even own a farm. I burst out laughing. I said to my mom, so out of that entire article, out of that entire news feature, in the broader perspective of South Africa, Trump, sanctions, farm attacks, etc., the point you want to bring across is that he doesn't even own a farm. And then I was like, if that's what my mom's saying, I don't even want to know what hit home for the rest of South Africa. I mean, my mom has a teacher's qualification. Like, she's highly literate. So he doesn't own a farm is not what I was expecting. But imagine then what the rest of South Africa is thinking and saying, and the society it's now built. It's so important that when you're reading the news, to always remember that perception is real, even when it's not reality. It's so important. So at the beginning of this video, I said that I want to answer the question, what would a real journalist have done? What would a qualified journalist have done with regards to Twatterboss? And in my opinion, and what I would have done, is that I would have very closely examined every single one of Twatterboss's posts. And I would have gathered evidence and data that proved him wrong, that was contradictory to his statements. And then I would have put a news expose together, showcasing the facts, the figures, the reality, the reports, the audit reports. That's what I would have done. A qualified journalist who tells stories from the soul in an effort to bring awareness and education to society would never have done a story like that. They could have invited him on a podcast. If you're willing to step forward and if you're willing to have an open, honest dialogue about these stories and posts and viewpoints and opinions, I invite you to a podcast. But no, we must expose him, ruin his life, and create a highly divisive narrative on a topic that's been in the US Congress since prior to Biden. In fact, it was done in the Obama stage, but the Democrats aren't confrontational, so nothing was done about it. And if there's one thing Trump loves, is confrontation. So of course he's going to do something about it. And thinking about the interest he could have in our ports, thanks to the what it would be a political tensions in the Suez Canal. Our ports around Africa are critical. So of course Trump has a vested interest in this country. But we're making it all about Twatterboss and Elon Musk. It has nothing to do with them. And Adriaan and Kyle, you are a shocking example of journalism. Please remove that from your stories, your titles, and your profiles. You are a reporter. And going forward, I'm going to refer to you as the paparazzi, because that is what you are. And then let's not forget that you stand up and say, oh, this graph about South Africans' population growth is like fake. It's not fake. It comes from your website. Talk about disinformation. You're so disinformed, you don't even know where the graphs are coming from that you put on your website. I mean, do you even source those graphs? Like, do you know how to reference your materials? My advice to Adriaan and Kyle is to go back to school, get a qualification, and then I don't know if you can teach morals, if you can teach ethics, but a qualification's a good start. I'm very disappointed. Terrible journalism, terrible. Anyway, now that that rant's over, you know how this ends. Guys, love your time. Love your comments and engagements. Obviously, if you're new to my channel, I'm Nix and I rant about random topics, really trying to hold people accountable. So that's it from me on the problem with journalism in South Africa today. So if you like this sort of content, make sure to subscribe and obviously like and share if this is your sort of vibe, man. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Over and out.